basis in facts, as it has been to see so many media reports amplify them without trying to deliver the truth in their coverage. I want to lay out some basic facts and provide some clarity and context that's been entirely missing from the conversation. The alleged assault on NYPD officers in Times Square that we saw on video was deplorable. Violence against police officers, city workers, or any New Yorker is wrong and unacceptable. Those involved in any assault should be held accountable for their actions. These should be shared truths that unite every New Yorker, regardless of who may or may not have been responsible. While it is fair to scrutinize the criminal legal process and any issues related to it, the unfounded leap to draw a connection to city laws that make New Yorkers safer and cast blame on asylum seekers broadly lacks any foundation in truth. This past week, some have pointed to this repugnant and unfortunate incident as a reason to revisit policies advanced by Democratic and Republican mayors, from Koch to Dinkins to Giuliani to Bloomberg and beyond, who recognized that keeping city agencies and workers from being used for federal immigration enforcement is in the best interest of public safety and the well-being of our city. In reality, these bipartisan city policies have no connection to this incident, but so much of the reporting insinuated a relationship that does not exist based on assertions that were not independently questioned. This was purely an issue of our local law enforcement solving and prosecuting an alleged crime as governed by state criminal law and the United States Constitution. City law does not interfere in the criminal legal process, nor any federal immigration law. I can assure you that the New York City Council has no power to change the United States Constitution. While there seems to be a lack of clarity about who exactly was responsible for this violence, as demonstrated by multiple individuals and organizations incorrectly identifying people, the rush to broadly demonize asylum seekers and immigrants is dangerous on many, many levels. Many seem to either forget or misunderstand that seeking asylum in our country is legal and does not constitute a violation of immigration law. Regardless of whether those responsible in the Times Square incident were seeking asylum or not, the fact remains that nothing in our city law prevents federal authorities from enforcing immigration law. So-called sanctuary policies have no bearing at all on how crime is prosecuted. They don't conceal or shelter people from detection, nor do they shield people from deportation or prosecution for criminal activities. They simply reflect best practices to safeguard public safety and well-being for cities with immigrant communities, which have been a priority of Democratic and Republican mayors alike for decades. This started with an executive order by Mayor Ed Koch, reissued by Mayors Dinkins and Giuliani, defended in federal court by Mayor Giuliani, and restored by Mayor Michael Bloomberg when many of these policies began to be codified into local law. In a city where 1/3 of all people are immigrants from over 200 countries across continents, these diverse mayors shared an understanding that immigrant New Yorkers are not to be deterred from seeking help or reporting crimes out of fear of deportation from their engagement with city agencies. These policies foster trust and cooperation between immigrant communities and local authorities, which is critical to public safety. In fact, the evidence shows that counties with these policies across the country are safer and have less crime than those without them. So, those opportunistically exploiting an incident that we should all be united in denouncing to attack public safety policies are advocating for policies that would make our city less safe and lead to higher crime. I get that we're in the middle of a political election season that incentivizes attempts to gain the upper hand. Yet, the public relies on the media for important information that provides them with the truth amidst so much noise, and we all must deliver on that responsibility. Our city is better than the public conversation over the past several days, and we all have a critical role to play. I also want to take a moment to share my disappointment and anger on behalf of the city's hundreds of thousands of public housing residents regarding yesterday's announced legal actions taken against current and former NYCHA employees in one of the largest corruption cases in the history of the United States Department of Justice. The impact on nearly 100 NYCHA developments across the city, including Baisley houses in my own district, is far-reaching, violating the public trust of New Yorkers already being ill-served by unacceptable living conditions. Our public housing residents deserve better. Residents should be able to trust and rely on NYCHA management to make timely repairs that address quality of life issues, and these allegations represent an immense betrayal. It's unacceptable, and NYCHA must do better by public housing residents across our entire city. Before we continue, I do want to acknowledge that we are joined today by Professor Errol Lewis and his class of students from the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism. We welcome you to the Red Room at City Hall, and we do look forward to seeing you in Room 9 in the future. Now let's move on to our stated agenda. First, we'll vote on the following finance items: a transparency resolution approving new designations and changes of certain organizations receiving funding in the expense budget. Next, we'll vote on the following land use items. 2226 3rd Avenue would amend the Special East Harlem Corridors District to allow the development of a new 10-story life sciences building in Deputy Speaker Ayala's district. Whitestone Lane's rezoning will facilitate a new 9-story residential building with 415 housing units, including approximately 113 permanently affordable units, accessible public space, and 200 parking spaces in Councilmember Ung's district. The council is modifying the application to include the deep affordability option in addition to MIH options 1 and 2. 166-11 91st Avenue special permit will provide relief for a height restriction that uniquely impacts the development site within the special downtown Jamaica district and Councilmember Williams' district. This special permit will facilitate a new 13-story mixed-use residential and community facility building. The project will include 28 housing units, of which 9 will be affordable, along with outdoor recreational areas and several terraces for residents. Lastly, 962 Pacific Street rezoning. The council will be voting on a resolution to disapprove this application. In 2022, I released a planning and land use toolkit with guidelines that underscored the need to prioritize thoughtful, comprehensive planning, and this is consistent with today's actions. The vote is about prioritizing the comprehensive plan for neighborhood rezoning that Councilmember Hudson is co-leading with her local community and the Department of City Planning. All stakeholders are working together to deliver more housing. The Atlantic Avenue mixed-use plan, which is expected to enter public review this year, is expected to create over 4,200 units, including 1,200 affordable homes, and the private application that is the subject of today's vote exists within that neighborhood rezoning, and that should be part of that broader plan. The proposed neighborhood rezoning process is well underway, preemptively acting on this single private application that may not be consistent with the larger final neighborhood rezoning in the middle of the process, risks undermining the comprehensive planning that builds the sustainable trust necessary to successfully confront the city's housing crisis. And today we'll vote on the following resolutions. Resolution 4A, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, to authorize the Speaker to commence legal action on behalf of the New York City Council to compel the Mayor and his administration to implement CityFHEPS reform laws, Local Law 99, Local Law 100, Local Law 101, and Local Law 102 of 2023. We will also vote on the following pieces of legislation. Introduction 93A, sponsored by Health Committee Chair Lynn Schulman, would require the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to develop a 5-year population health agenda with the goal of improving public health outcomes, addressing health disparities, and improving access to quality health care for New Yorkers to increase life expectancy. This bill would also require DOHMH to submit the agenda to the mayor and the council and to post the agenda on the department's website. I now invite Councilmember Schulman to the podium to discuss her legislation.
You journalism students see I'm short, so I need a riser. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm really excited that the Council will be passing Intro 93-A today. This legislation represents a codification of the city's Healthy NYC initiative to increase the average life expectancy of New Yorkers to 83 years by 2030. It will require the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to develop a 5-year population health agenda every 5 years, so it's not a one-time thing. So just so people know, with input from key stakeholders throughout the city. This plan will require the identification of goals and strategies to improve the well-being of all New Yorkers and marks a significant step toward improving health outcomes, addressing health disparities, and improving quality of life. The first agenda has been posted on the Healthy NYC website and is available to the public. The codification of Healthy NYC is especially unique in that it ensures that our city's health goals are not dependent on any one government or elected administration. This legislation represents a bold step in our ongoing mission to address the root causes of health disparities and ensure equitable access to healthcare services for every New Yorker. It focuses on preventive measures, community-based interventions, and innovative approaches to promote wellness and disease prevention across all demographics. As we confront the challenges of our time, from the COVID-19 pandemic to the persistent inequalities in healthcare access, it is imperative that we take proactive measures to safeguard the health of our communities. This bill not only reflects our commitment to that goal, but also serves as a testament to our collective resolve to build a healthier, more resilient city for generations to come. As chair of the Health Committee, I am proud to partner with Speaker Adams, Mayor Adams, and DOHMH Commissioner Vossen on such a comprehensive and ambitious plan to make New York City the healthiest city in the country. I particularly want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to Speaker Adrian Adams and all my esteemed colleagues for their unwavering support and dedication to the health care of all New Yorkers. It is through their collaborative efforts and shared vision of a healthier New York that we have been able to bring this distinct and groundbreaking legislation to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you. Reinforcements. I'm going to move this to the side.
Move that to the side.
Thank you, Councilmember Schulman. Introduction 39A, sponsored by Councilmember Shahana Hanif, would require the Office to End Domestic and Gender-Based Violence to establish a trauma-informed program that connects eligible survivors of domestic or gender-based violence to certain support services. I invite Councilmember Hanif to the podium to give remarks on her legislation today.
Thank you so much. First, I just want to welcome the CUNY students of journalism for joining. I know some are even my constituents. Thank you for the work that you do. Stay passionate, stay committed to our city, please. And I also just want to thank our Speaker Adams for the consistent clarity and her compassion and care and leadership when addressing asylum seekers and making sure that everyone knows that we are a sanctuary city. Today, my younger self is especially proud. I started my journey in public service as a youth in the gender justice movement, namely at Saki for South Asian Women. Their work, alongside the contributions and care for survivors of gender and domestic violence, are invaluable and urgent. I feel tremendous strength and courage being a part of a council that recognizes the importance of gender-responsive governance and leadership. My bill, Intro 39A, is a critical step forward in that mission. Too often, domestic violence survivors are unable to make essential security repairs to their homes due to high costs. This puts their safety at risk or forces them to leave for another location, such as a shelter. Intro 39A will address this issue by ensuring survivors have access to free lock changes, personal safety alarms, and door and window repairs. These services are critical to keeping survivors safely in their homes. The bill maximizes accessibility by specifying that survivors do not need to file a police report or obtain a restraining order against their abuser to be eligible for the program. Additionally, all New Yorkers, irrespective of immigration status, are eligible. Further, the city will be required to distribute information about the program at family justice centers, domestic violence shelters, and health and hospital facilities. The bill also ensures referrals to services that set survivors up for long-term success, including counseling, safety planning, and housing and legal services. I'm grateful to Speaker Adams and Women and Gender Equity Chair Lewis for moving this bill forward. Co-prime sponsors Chair Lewis and council members Caban, Narcisse, Farias, and Riley for introducing this bill alongside me, and GBV for carrying out this work through the Home Plus program and collaborating to reach the final bill language, and to advocates and providers like the ASIA Women's Center, Sakhi for South Asian Women, Jahaji Sisters, Women in Need, New Destiny Housing, Safe Horizon, and Womankind, whose insights were integral to this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And were you speaking, Deputy Speaker?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't have you.
He's trying to get me into trouble.
okay.
I've been sitting here quiet.
No, I mean, are you speaking?
Oh, no.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave you because I'm okay. And Introduction 25A, sponsored by Councilmember Eric Dinowitz, would require the Department of Housing Preservation and Development, or HPD, to provide an application form for the Senior Citizen Rent Increase Exemption, or SCRE as we know it, program to eligible residents in Mitchell-Lama developments, with all applicable data electronically populated in the application. I invite Councilmember Dinowitz to tell us all about this important legislation.
Thanks.
It's good
Thank
stuff.
you. It is. Well, I think it's great stuff. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thanks for all your help in getting this bill forward. I'm Eric Dinowitz, council member from the Bronx. I'm really excited that we're passing this bill today. You know, this council cares very deeply, not just about building new housing, new affordable housing, but allowing people to remain in their homes, as is evident by today's resolution and our veto override for the CityFHEPS rules that we changed. And this bill is in the service of ensuring people can stay in their homes. Our older adults, a particularly vulnerable community, often living on a fixed income, should have every opportunity to stay in their homes and every opportunity to apply for SCRE, for rent freeze, when they are eligible. Right now in my district, we have Mitchell-Lama developments that are seeing 22% increases in rent, 44% increase in maintenance fees. And while that to me is outlandish, we do have a program that can protect the older adults living in those buildings. Now, right now, if you live in a Mitchell-Lama building, every year you are writing down your name and your income and other information, and you are sending it to HPD, the same agency that deals with SCRE for Mitchell-Lama units. So what this bill simply says is that HPD, when you receive that information and it looks as though they qualify for SCRE, that you do the work to mail a pre-filled out application to older adults. This is about making it as easy as possible for older adults to have access to information and to apply for programs. I know in my district, not every older adult knows about the SCRE program. And even if they do, filling out the application isn't always the easiest thing to do. That's why I know many of us up here help dozens and dozens of older adults every year fill out and file the SCRE application. And with this bill, we are hopefully moving in the direction of keeping more older adults in their home and solving those problems of making sure more older adults know about the program, and that when they get that document, they can more easily apply for it. I want to again thank the Speaker, thank Chair Hudson for allowing this bill to go forward, for hearing the bill, allowing the bill to go forward, so we can ensure that our older adults age in place and with dignity.
Thank you. That does conclude our stated agenda. With that, we will take on topic questions first.
So I guess this could be for Deputy Speaker or you. But,
Okay.
for the lawsuit against the administration over FHEPS, what is that going to look like exactly? Because we know legal aid has also indicated they're going to take some kind of legal action. Is it going to be joint or, I guess with another organization?
Well, let me just tell you what the resolution does today. It's to authorize our ability to take some type of legal action to ensure that our laws can help New Yorkers facing the twin crises of rising evictions and homelessness, and that the laws are actually implemented. There has been no final decision yet on any legal action, but this maintains our ability to keep our options open. So that's what the reso does.
Hi. Yes, my question, you sent a letter to DSS Commissioner Park last month, giving the February 7th deadline. After you sent that letter, was there any communication between the council and the administration? And then my other question is, could today's vote have been avoided if there was some form of a compromise, if the administration was willing to at least fund part of the changes? And sorry, last question. What does this do for the tensions between the city council and the mayor? Because it seems like lately you guys have not been able to agree on any type of legislation.
I'll take the last question first, Kelly. Thank you for them. We're going to continue to work to the best of our ability with the administration, regardless of anything that is taking place currently or in the past. As far as communication, after the letter that we sent, we received no further communication. That is why we feel it necessary to go forward with the legal action.
And then on compromise, if they would have said we'll fund it part way or something, could we avoided today's vote?
Possibly.
Liz?
Hi, Liz.
Speaker,
Hi, Liz.
regarding your opening remarks on the fear-mongering and the misinformation, I wanted to ask...
That's kind of off topic, but I'll take it.
You brought it up. How much has the mayor done to contribute to that? And I'm thinking about some of the provocative statements he's made about the migrant crisis destroying New York City, that the federal government is defunding New York City by not giving sufficient money. But also this week, it was his decision to spotlight crimes that were allegedly committed by migrants. His own police commissioner said that there was a wave of migrant crime in the city. How much should he be held responsible for the fear-mongering? And are you worried about this, given that this is a critical election year for Democrats?
Again, to your second question first, this is a critical year for Democrats, and I sense a lot of politicization around this particular issue. As far as the mayor's response is concerned, again, I don't speak for him. I don't know, his intent on the remarks that he makes. I can only say that remarks like that and made by others tends to damage and absolutely muddy the waters when it comes to perception around asylum seekers and migrants in the city of New York anyway. So continuing the fervor and the fear-mongering around a crime wave, a supposed crime wave which just is not true, which we know, I think those of us in this room know that, I think is damaging to the climate, particularly now with census so high and everybody's emotions so high. It does not bode us well.
Yeah, back to CityFHEPS. So on the lawsuit, my understanding is, still figuring out what you're going to do with that, potentially partnering up with legal aid. What would be the strategic upside of partnering with outside organizations or impacted individuals? We haven't been in this situation in a long time where a council has been potentially about to sue a mayor. So what's your thinking and how?
Again, it's the same response that I gave previously. This is just to authorize the legal action. We have not gone on any further than that.
Yeah, on the sanctuary status topic, to kind of piggyback off of Alyssa's question, the mayor's response when he's been asked about this is that any modifications to the law, the question would have to be directed to the city council. And he did also say the other day that he would be happy to consider making it easy for the city to cooperate with federal authorities. So I guess I'll pose the question to you. Would the council consider modifying that law in any way? And then On kind of a related topic, you might have seen in the news over the past few days, Curtis Sliwa got into an interaction on live television, and a lot has been made about that, specifically since Sliwa incorrectly identified someone as a migrant. That resulted in this altercation where someone put someone in a headlock. I'm just wondering if you think Mr. Sliwa and his group should face any legal repercussions over this incident.
I think that the actions by Mr. Sliwa and his group spoke to exactly what your colleague just spoke about as far as the fear-mongering aspect of it. Seeing incidents and occurrences like that certainly does not help the climate of the city right now. It actually does a lot of harm, creates a lot of confusion, a lot of anger on some parts. Your first question, Chris, was, ask it again, was?
So the mayor-
Oh, the law.
Right.
The law, and the council taking any action on the law.
If they want to amend their own.
Yeah, we have no plans to do that. Once again, we are looking forward to not interfering with any state or federal law. U.S. Constitution is exactly that. Individuals should see due process, and that is where the council is right now.
Do you think Curtis should face legal repercussions?
I'll let the DA and others make those decisions. Hi.
How are you? So just getting back to the CityFHEPS and the potential lawsuit, I guess at this point is just allowing you to sue. Is there any other legal avenues that you would have after signing this, or is it after passing this? Has there been any negotiations with City Hall about implementing this at this point, or is this just like a procedural step?
Yeah, thank you for the question, and it brings us back to Kelly's point, whether there's been any communications, since the first letter and then our response, and the response again is no. There hasn't been any further communication. We are going to wait and see what happens once we pass this resolution today, and then we'll go forward.
I'm sorry, could I just follow- is there, you set a date that was yesterday before you would even consider putting this forward to then consider legal action. Is there another date you have in mind at this point, or is it?
There is not. There is not.
Any questions from the CUNY folks?
From our students? Your professor's watching.
Hi, also John. You mentioned that the NYPD was investigating a crime which led to the Times Square incident. What crime were you referring to?
That the NYPD was investigating a crime that led to?
Crime, I believe you said?
I don't think I said that. Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell as far as my, and I can go back. Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell as far as my, and I can go back.
Yeah, just,
Did you have a follow-up?
yeah, quick follow on back to CityFHEPS. Sorry. So the mayor put out a press release today saying they're gonna expedite something like 1,000 voucher placements out of shelter. Clearly, they've been sort of responding with different changes to the CityFHEPS program that are separate from the changes you would implement. Why is the council standing strong with this expansion outside of shelter? That seems to be the biggest difference.
Yeah, well, the law that we passed was absolutely the stand that we still have. Anything that will come subsequent to that law is fine, and it would be welcome, but it does not supersede the law that is in place.
So this is a follow-up on the authorization of a law.
Yes.
It brings to mind that some people in the street safety movement are wondering whether the council is considering a potential lawsuit against the Adams administration, the Eric Adams administration, for not carrying out the streets master plan for 2 consecutive years. In fact, being almost half as many miles of bike and bus lanes not built that he's required by this council to build. So would you consider a lawsuit over that?
We will take a look at all of it. We know the plan that you're talking about, and it is still up, it is still up to us to consider and to continue collaborating on any action.
I know we want to move to off-topic. Are there any off-topic questions? Okay, we'll follow on-topic and then we'll do one off-topic.
Really quick, for the council, what makes the council think that filing a lawsuit or taking any court action is actually gonna make the administration fully fund the changes to CityFHEPS if it's already a law and they're not doing anything about it?
all I can say to answer that question is that it is our responsibility to get to compliance. Just like you have to comply with the law, I have to comply with the law, the administration has to comply with the law as well. So that's where we are right now.
Yes, you had mentioned waiting and seeing what the administration does after passing this resolution. Does the council plan to send another letter or have any more correspondence with them immediately following this, or waiting to see?
Yeah, I go back to the same, we're at square one right now. We're not at square 2 or 3, so we're just going to pass the resolution for now.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay? Thank you. Did we want to say hi to the class?
There is.